Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Sudevil here, and welcome to an online ladder battle I had as the Dowie versus the Greenskins, and this was prior to my training with the Worker Boss, so this army actually has since been updated, but I'm going through all of my replays and trying to get them all sorted out before the all the DLC hubbub comes up and everything else like that. So anyways, this is my dwarf army. I have 5 miners, just basic miners, not with the blasting charges, and 5 dwarf warriors. Now these 5 dwarf warriors and 5 miners, what they're there for is to really hold down all the fast movers that the Greenskins can come. So I've seen lots of builds that bring tons of that bring chariots, that bring squigs, that bring the wolf riders and these types of things, and it's nice just to be able to sort of sort them out and let your backline or other units operate. So for my main killing power, it is all right here. It's with Thorgrim Grudgebearer, and I've brought this sort of Shetland Apache concept of giving Thorgrim Grudgebearer the High King, so that if he gets beat down, he gives everyone map-wide plus 12% weapon damage, plus 8% charge bonus, and plus 8 melee attack with immune to psychology. And of course he has the Great Book of Grudges for plus 9 melee attack. He has the Oath of Vengeance, which is very inexpensive, minus 27 melee attack for 44 seconds. And of course he has Stand Your Ground. With him, I actually have a jacked up runesmith. So that runesmith has a Hammer of Carrick draws to give something minus 44 melee attack for 50 seconds. He does, of course, has the Rune of Wrath and Rune. He also has Forge Fire for plus 10% armor piercing damage, because we have some armor piercing units. And he does have this Master Rune of Groth One Eye for the plus 8 leadership. What is he buffing up? Well, they're buffing up some hammers with 1 chevron and 2 units of dwarf warriors with great weapons. And really, they're meant to come and sort of do the heavy damage right down the center, so I can sort of create a pocket right here with that front line. Supporting them, I do have the Iron Drakes, and they have 1 chevron. The Iron Drakes, really, I tried to theme this army around the weakness of Greenskin leadership. So these guys, when they hit something, they're burnt, so they have minus 8 leadership for 10 seconds, plus they're hit by missiles, so they have minus 5. So the other thing that we can have, obviously, is artillery. And if they're hit by artillery, that is minus 10, I think, or something like that. Plus, if they're hit by the Goblobber, they have Discourage, with the minus 16 leadership. So I do have that Goblobber. It's very accurate. And lastly, I have 2 gyrocopters. These are base gyrocopters. If you are hit with the gyrocopter, you're hit by artillery as well. They're just the steam cannons. They're just for getting around the map. And I have Vanguard. I put them right out the edges, because I want to catch any kind of Vanguard deploy and then slowly work them up the center of the line. And sort of that is my army. Now, the army I was facing, in some of the testing we did a while back, I said Savage Orc Big Guns are unreal good, in that they're really good in an infantry matchup and the anti-large matchup, and I wonder why Greenskin players don't use them. Well, here is 6 units of Savage Orc Big Guns. We have 4 units of Orc Big Guns. On the flanks, we have Night Goblins, and we have the Warlord Boy Night Goblins, and I believe they are one of these guys leadership of 100. Yep. So these guys have a leadership of 100, so they are unbreakable. And he has for support 2 Goblin Big Bosses. I believe this one is on a wolf, and this one is on a spider. Yep. So he's on a spider, and for his leadership, which is, I think, is the very best leader you can get for the Greenskins, and that is Wurzag on his War Pig. And for his items, he has Wah, of course, for the 24% speed, 18% charge bonus, and plus 20 melee attack map wide for 30 seconds. He has Here We Go, plus 44 melee attack for 38 seconds, a 40-meter radius, which is ridiculous. He has Fists of Gork, which is gives magical damage, but that's not the key. It gives plus 26 melee attack, plus 27 melee defense for 28 seconds. And every time he casts a spell, he triggers his map wide, the Bonewood Staff, plus 13 melee attack and plus 18% charge bonus, which is ridiculous. And he has Squiggly Beast, so he can improve his power recharge rate. And he actually has Frenzy for the plus 8 melee attack, plus 12% weapon damage, immune to psychology, and charge bonus. And he also has 25% physical resistance, which will do nothing against Thorgrim because Thorgrim does magic damage. So, all right, so we'll get this going right away. You know, I see this massive line, and I'm sort of looking like, what is this? So I'm going to try and target those Savage Orc Big Guns and get some shots in early. You can see as soon as you hit them, you really do tank their leadership. It goes down by quite a bit. But this is going to be really hard, so I'm trying to sort of bring up some of my units and think about how am I going to actually face off against these guys. And unfortunately, I forget I brought these guys here for a reason. I'm going to forget them for some time on this side. They could be out doing damage right away, but right now I'm like sort of in full-on panic mode. Now, how am I going to deal with this? You're nothing but big ends. You know, where am I going to put my units? How am I going to attack? So I bring these guys back. You know, I'm sort of calming down, like, well, I'm going to put these here, and I want to make sure I attack at the same time. I want to put something out front to slow these guys down, and then I can put the Hammer of Karak draws to really slow them down. And I really want to keep my Goblobber working. I think now, yeah, okay, now I got this Gyrocopter going. This guy is still sitting still because I'm a dummy. And, you know, it is what it is. But now I just want to get involved. I do want them to attack me because I don't mind if Thorgrim Krudgar gets beat up. But I'm going to put the Rune of Wrath and Rune on these Savage Orc Big Guns. And I'm going to put the Hammer of Karak draws on these Savage Orc Big Guns so the miners can last. And then I'm just going to try and get involved. And I do want to go ahead and fight Wurzag. So I want to get everyone going in that front line and get that engagement going. And he hits the Wa early, which is really good for me because a lot of these guys are not engaged yet. So I have the Dwarf Warriors here, I have the Miners here. Remember, they're just to slow things down. They're not going to do anything to these guys. I want to get in here, and I do see Wurzag, so I want to get everyone fighting Wurzag. And he's got the Wa going. I've got Oath of Vengeance on him for minus 27 melee attack. Or melee defense, so he has a 0 melee defense, 115 melee attack. It's ridiculous, actually. And I've got Thorgrim out front. He's buffing these guys up, trying to beat up the Savage Orcs. I do actually have him a little too far, but you can see his buff is so big. He's buffing all of these guys plus 9. So I'm beating the crap out of Wurzag, and he has to pull him out of this fight because the Runesmith, the Dwarf Warriors, and the Hammers have done a really good job. The rest of my line, though, is struggling. I do have these Iron Drakes coming here shooting against the Savage Orc Big Guns. They're going to do a great job, but you can see the front of my line has started to collapse, and he just has too many units coming through. He has Savage Orc Big Guns, and I haven't been able to stop these guys. He has a Goblin Big Boss, and now these Savage Orc Big Guns are coming in. I'm really just trying to push these Dwarf Warriors forward to get them, and I do have just my soft bits back here with the Goblobber and these Iron Drakes. I'm trying to hold these two guys, but he just has too much stuff here for me to deal with it, and he's got through. I am trying to get on things with the Gyrocopter. This Gyrocopter is going to do a lot of damage, and so I got them trying to focus my Gyrocopters here to break these Savage Orc Big Guns so that I can at least save my Goblobber and my Iron Drakes. In the front here with Thorgrim, I'm doing fine against these Savage Orc Big Guns up here, and the Hammers are doing okay. They've got a Chevron already, and but I'm sort of past the buff range. If I look at where I'm buffing, I've now gone too far forward, so I think that was a mistake to bring him that forward that early, because now I'm not buffing up anything. I have got 4 units up here, but I have 3 units committed to do it, and you can see some of my units are routing out here, and he is really gotten his units right in. I'm finally bringing this Gyrocopter over. I'm like, God, I just hate when I watch my replays and I do something dumb like this. So I'm going to finally bring them over and try and get into these. My Iron Drakes have been absolutely crumpled, and my Goblobber has actually, where is he? My Goblobber is up here. He's still actually active, and he's fighting, and he's going to break and actually go this way. You can see a lot of my units have come out. I'm trying to bring them back and focus on these Savage Orc Big Guns back here, you know, and trying to get at least my Gyrocopter pushing these guys off, because they're going to do a ton of damage to these guys because they have 0 armor, and that's sort of the perfect matchup for the Gyrocopters. Thorgrim is sort of beating the crap out of Wurzag, and I'm like, wow, Wurzag does not have much armor. He only has like 55 armor, something like that. And like, I put the Hammer of Karak draws on him, but I thought, well, maybe I can get him with this Gyrocopter. So you can see he's gone down to 434, 379, and this gyrocopter, even though it doesn't have armor piercing, it's actually doing, it's not doing great damage, but I just need to do a little. And you can see I just keep my gyrocopter on Wurzag, and I've got him now down to 342, and he's broken. So this is a huge get for me. So now this is the beauty of the gyrocopter. I'm just going to chase him right off the entire map. I'm going to keep this gyrocopter on him, and I'm going to push him all the way out here. Now, the rest of this stuff is not so good, but I have had my Goblobber rally in the woods, so they are, I believe they are hidden, and I'm bringing these guys out, the Dwarf Warriors, to come out and fight against the Savage Orc Big Guns. They're fighting some Dwarf Warriors out here. These Orc Big Guns are pushing off the Miners, which is fine with me, and I'm sort of trying to shoot these guys in the back while my Dwarf Warriors run, and I'm trying to pull these guys away from the main fight so I can get shots in with my gyrocopters, you know, just so I can get free shots while these guys are running. You can see this gyrocopter is actually doing really good, so they finally catch me. Okay, he's going to kick the crap out of me, but I am going to keep on getting those shots in the back here of these Savage Orcs and still trying to draw them away. For this main fight, I mean, Thorgrim is really good. I mean, the problem is he's actually large, and these are all anti-large units, so he's kind of drawing all his units in here. And what do I have over here? The Goblin Big Boss, the Oath of Vengeance. I actually kicked the crap out of him, and I think I am going to actually shoot him with this gyrocopter and try and get him off the battlefield, because Greenskin is all about the leadership, right? Their leadership is really, really tenuous at best, and you can see this gyrocopter is pulling these guys off. And really, I ran out of ammo. I actually shouldn't have shot at him, but I should have just kept charging him, because the gyrocopter is 105 speed. He is only like 62 speed, but we're going to get him right off the side of the field, and you can see this gyrocopter is going to escort this Goblin Big Boss off, and now it's pretty much Thorgrim versus the world, because the Runesmith here has routed, but Thorgrim's really tough. I mean, he's got a lot of hit points. He's got excellent melee defense, 62 melee defense. Now these guys all have a bonus versus large, but he's sort of, this is his very best, because they have no armor and they have physical resistance, and he has magic damage. So he's never going to do better than in a bunch like this. But right now, these guys have rallied, and I'm just waiting. I need to get rid of these Warlords boys, and so I can get these Goblobbers on here, so I can actually throw some catapult some goblins into here and actually try and break their leadership, because Thorgrim is doing fine. I mean, he's going to eventually lose this, but he's doing okay. Now I've got the gyrocopter back. I want to try and save my Runesmith, so he's chasing him off with the Night Goblins. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I really need, because Thorgrim is starting to waver in here, so I need to get here right now. He's at 10 leadership. I need to get in here and get some work done, and I happen to still have my bombs. So what a perfect place to drop the bomb, and boom. You can see everyone instantly starts to waver, and I'm going to try and get rid of these Warlords boys so I can protect my Goblobber. So I'm going to I believe I'm going to take a shot at these guys. Yep, take a shot at these guys and instantly rout them, and now I can get my Goblobber on safely. Now these guys rout too, but it is what it is. These guys are all starting to rout because of that bomb, and obviously Thorgrim's in here, and now I can get my Goblobber and start shooting them. I've brought my other gyrocopter back, and I'm just going to do a rear charge. Obviously they're already broken, but that was my plan, to come in and do a rear charge, and these guys are going to break too very, very shortly. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this Goblobber? I'm just going to try and get a shot in here to get the big guns to rout, and then I can start trying to chase them off. He does have one full unit of work big guns here, like 56 healthy models, but I do get a shot in, and everyone instantly routs. Now I've sort of got these guys routing in here, and I'm going to try and keep them routing by targeting them so they don't come back, and getting my gyrocopter to help with there. But now he's bringing these Orc Big Guns back. I'm going to try and get some shots. What shots I have left with the gyrocopter? He has 53 models here. Should have turned this Goblobber around, I think, and that would have really helped. Like, I'm stuck, because I want to stop these guys. So you can see I've got the Goblobber aimed at these guys, and I want to get Thorgrim over there, and so he's trying to get these guys out. And you see, as soon as I get a shot in there, boom, leadership goes, and I don't know if these guys are going to react. There they go. They're going to break. I need one shot, but there's too many units, and these guys are on the way. I am trying to shoot them in the back. I'm trying to slow them down. I'm trying to get some shots in here. I'm going to shoot them again, and I'm going to try and rear charge them to slow them down. but I'm doing my best to get any kind of shots in because I just want to get these guys going. So I'm so close. You can see the balance of power is coming over to me really, really fast right now. I'm getting these gyrocopters in. I want to charge these guys and slow them down. Unfortunately, gyrocopters are a large unit. I've got them down here. I've taken the Goblobber off of their artillery because I do not want to get stuck with these Orc big guns. So I do a charge here and bring in all of my gyrocopters to try and get them, to try and break them. But I'm noticing I can't. I'm trying to chase these guys down with Thorgrim, but obviously he can't catch them. And you can see he's trying to get these guys back. He's doing his best to get these guys back. I cannot see these Warlords boys right now. And these Orc big guns are a real threat to the gyrocopters because the gyrocopters are a large entity and these guys are anti-large. So I'm like, well, I've got to get these Goblobbers out of here. I can't stay there, and I'm trying to chase these guys off with my gyrocopter, and these guys have a little bit too much health for me to rear charge. Really, I should be going after these guys. So I just get in there, charge, and get out, and I'm trying to get Thorgrim in there, and he's just pulling him away, trying to draw this out because he really wants to get these guys back and these guys back. So I'm like, well, okay, well now what am I going to do? I got to get these guys going. I'm going to get my gyrocopter going. I don't notice these guys yet. And I thought, well, I'll come in here and charge these guys. These guys will not be able to take a charge. They're probably going to rout. And so I get my gyrocopters in there. They're really teetering at 7 leadership. I do not know how they're not routing right now. 4 leadership. You know, I'm not doing a lot of damage, but you think that charge would immediately be able to break them. But these guys started winning the fight, and that actually gives them a bonus to leadership. So I got Thorgrim coming back. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to charge in here and get everybody in here. I have taken the gyrocopter here and got rid of these Warlords boys, and I've got Thorgrim now into these healthy Orc big guns. And now I'm trying to get my gyrocopter in here. My Goblobber instantly routs pretty much. I've got these guys shattered, and I've got Thorgrim in here fighting. I've got these 2 guys shattered, but they've got this whole group coming in. I'm trying to rear charge here to get these guys to rout, and you can see the leadership's low. These guys are minus 17, and they rout, and they shatter. These guys are still fighting in there, though, but they think they're winning, and you can see these guys have shattered, and then Thorgrim loses his leadership, and that's the game. It was so close. I might have had the balance of power was in my favor for such a long time. So great fun build from Professor Z. You know, this just an Orc infantry line, which was really interesting, and some great units like Savage Orc big guns are actually really good against the Dowie. You know, but we were not able to make this happen. So Thorgrim, 114 kills. He did great, buffed some things. I think I pushed them out too far at the very beginning of the fight, but I mean, I got both big bosses, and I also managed to kill Wurzag, so that's not awful. The miners, I know miners with blasting charges are a little bit better. My newest build does have miners with blasting charges instead of miners. The idea was to stop these crazy greenskin builds, which are super fast and super mobile, and to slow things down a little bit. But you know, if I get stuck like this, they got 5, 2, 8, 7, and 8. I mean, between them all, they got, you know, 30 kills between 5 units. It's just not good enough. Now, the Dwarf Warriors didn't do great either, but they held for a lot longer. 10, 11, 63, 16, 27. And the Dwarf Warriors, great weapons, didn't do much, 12 and 16. And the Hammerers actually didn't do a whole lot either, only 55 kills, and they were getting really buffed. The Iron Drakes, I couldn't protect them. They only got 7 kills. You know, my new build, I have 3 Iron Drakes, and you can see they can get a ton of kills if they're allowed to go to work. Now, these Gyrocopters, 46 and 58, they got a lot of work done. The Goblobber, even though it was offline for big part of the game, got a lot of work done as well. You know, have rebuilt this army to make it a little bit more effective and robust. And, you know, it's funny as you go through a lot of ideas in your head against the Greenskins because they can bring so many different types of armies. And this is one example. You know, 6 Savage Orc Big Guns. And they did good. 68, 84, 89, 85, 60, and 161. Can't complain about that. You know, Wurzag only got 5. I did manage to get him. 1 Goblin Big Boss, 5, and 114, but that's just for the leadership. 93 with the Warlords, boys. 52. And these Orc Big Guns, now, I think you could definitely argue that you'd have been better off with a different unit than the Orc Big Guns. You know, even Savage Orcs or Orc Boys or, you know, something like that. You know, they got 33, 37, 61, and 47. Now these gyrocopters did okay. This is one of those matches where gyrocopters are so good in that you almost have to use them. Now, I have one gyrocopter in my new build, and now I've actually updated it back to 2 again. I think it's just they're too good not to bring because they add so much mobility. They do more than just the killing, right? Then kill things. They really do give you some mobility. I mean, had I had these guys going earlier, I would have done a lot better. And I mean, I played poorly, but Professor C had a good build and he played well. So I mean, this is, it's one of those things that when you play poorly, it's exacerbated by your opponent, playing well. So it was a really fun game. And after this game, I went back to the drawing board, thought a lot about my build, and that's where I brought 3 Iron Drakes, and I brought a much more robust front line. And I brought, I have two heroes, no runesmiths. I brought the Thane with the slow and the weakness to fire, and the 3 Iron Drakes, so I can absolutely crush. I still have the Goblobber, and I still have a Gyrocopters, because they have that leadership debuff, which is so important against the Greenskins. But I changed the Gyrocopters with the steam guns to the Gyrocopter with the brimstone guns because, it's always easy to look at an army in 2020. Hindsight is 2020, so it's always easy to look at an army afterward and say, I would have brought this, I should have brought that. But if I bring 2 Gyrocopters with brimstone guns, instead of deploying them back, I deploy them front. They can still look for things. I kill Wurzag before he even gets the wall off, because he's large, he doesn't have a whole lot of armor, and he'll be dead before he even gets the first wall off. No spells, and that's it for this army. I mean, the rest of the army, I could just shoot the 2 Goblin Big Bosses and just focus them down. They are also large targets, I believe, on their wolf. They might be a small, I don't know, you have to check. But, and then if you got Azeg in the sky, like the last Greenskin battle I had, 2 Gyrocopters will be a little bit better than 1 because they can sort of kite them. And the Greenskins just can't put a lot of stuff up in the air. Now, they can mass up some archers and make it a little bit difficult, but they don't have armor piercing. So even though their Orc Boys or Orc Air Boys have 6 armor piercing, and it's one of the highest in the game for a non-armor piercing archer, it's still not armor piercing. Like, your Gyrocopters will always be able to get around, and they can get in there for that early pressure. So, this is a really close game. I was a few little changes. Like, had I turned my Goblobber around and used it in conjunction with the Gyrocopters to actually kill those Savage Orcs behind me, they would have routed off immediately, and I would have had everything in front of me. So they would have had to come through Thorgrim Grudgebearer to get to my Goblobber, and I think I would have won there. I mean, had I not spent ammo taken Wurzag off the field, I probably would have won there, because I would have had more ammo. And there's a whole lot of things you go back and look, and obviously had I built better and everything else like that. But it was a really fun game, and I'm glad I got to play against a build like this against Professor Z. So thanks if you ever do see this for bringing that awesome build. It was really fun, and it demonstrated a different way to play with the Greenskins, and something that you have to be ready for. My newest army, would it beat this army? I don't know. Probably, but it would be a fun game, I'll tell you that. It would be really fun. I think it would crush this army, but there's other armies that won't crush. Like I've faced really, really strong armies with squigs and chariots and wolf riders, and those armies are hard to face as well, which is why I think the Gyrocopters again perform pretty well in that sort of environment. So anyways, would love to hear from you. This is a classic matchup, the Dwarfs versus the Greenskins. What did you think of the build for the Dwarfs? What did you think of the build for the Greenskins? What do you like to have in your build as the Dowie or the Greenskins in this matchup? And our experts say this favors the Greenskins. When we did our expert poll on some of the top players in the world, and I can see it. It's always like, until there's something major changes for the Dowie or the Greenskins, it's going to keep favoring the Greenskins, because they have great units, but they have a lot of potential builds, which really makes it hard to prepare an army, sort of a one army faces all sort of build. So anyways, with that said, I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you soon.